when we look at East African integration and looking at the community, the EAC integration policy that has come to the fore over the last 2 years, there's been a big focus on the private sector and ensuring that we see a lot of involvement coming through from the private sector. What is the status as it stands right now? Do you believe that there is an enabling environment for manufacturers out there within this EAC region?
Hi, yeah. We had a meeting this morning with the Secretary General of the East African Community, and the manufacturers in Kenya are actually concerned about the pace of this customs union, considering that we've been a fully fledged customs union from 1st July 2010, and we are now in 2012, and we still don't see a fully functional single customs territory, although trade between the countries has started improving. But the intra-EAC trade is at a disappointing number of 11%. That means within East Africa, we are not trading as much as we should. We're trading more with extra EAC, that means outside East Africa. So we've seen a lot of non-tariff barriers, and what we were doing this morning is basically taking stock of what worked, what didn't work, and what can we do better. And I think we are all very concerned that we need to fast-track this whole harmonization, look at standards, which is becoming a big problem in terms of non-tariff barriers and technical barriers to trade.
Yeah, well, that's interesting, Jas. I mean, you mentioned when you spoke of single custom fees as well. Do you think that this is going to make or break the whole concept of the East African community?
No, I don't think it will break the community concept, because it's instilled now. It's a question of trust. I think there's a lot of mistrust between the partner states. And if you look back in 1977 when the community broke off, you see, so it goes back to 30 years ago. But we're rebuilding that trust, and I think everybody is committed. All the 5 member countries are committed, and we're actually looking forward to expanding that territory from 5 partner states to maybe South Sudan as our newest member, and possibly Ethiopia. The discussions are going on, and I think this economic bloc will work. But it's just that as manufacturers, we are concerned at the pace, because we thought that 1st July 2010 will be up and running. Uganda is a home market, Tanzania is a home market, and we just have an expanded pie of 140 million people, which is true to a certain extent. But the technical barriers of trade actually frustrate that whole process.
Do you think that there is willingness to address these technical issues that you're talking of?
There is. In fact, that was the sole purpose of the Secretary General's visit to the Kenyan business today. He's going to do the same with every other partner state, and that by the end of this year, he wants to bring all 5 countries, all top CEOs in all the 5 countries of East Africa together in one room and say, guys, okay, this is what I heard in Kenya, this is what I hear in Tanzania, this is what I hear in Uganda, but how can we now fast-track the process? And I think at the same time, he's also saying that maybe the people that we choose into our East African Legislative Assembly should be pro-business people, because there's no point not being part of the process. It's better to be part of the process, advocating the right people to come in front, and then the regulation can kick in, which is pro-business.
You're talking of...
He's actually thrown the ball back at us, and we will take it up, and we'll make sure that we actually have the right people on the ground.
Well, Jas, what's interesting is that you also mentioned lots of trade is occurring outside of East Africa as opposed to within East Africa. What kind of growth do you foresee if there is appetite to change some of these policy issues that you're talking of and to do them as quickly as possible? I mean, what kind of growth can we expect within this region if this does occur?
Well, if I give you an example of intra-EU trade within the European Union, in the European Customs Union, the intra-trade within Europe is 60%. If you look at the North America's trade between the NAFTA countries, it's about 45%. If you look at Asia, it's also about 45%. Within Africa, including COMESA and EAC, it's 11%. It's shocking that we trade more with outside Africa than inside Africa. And I think this whole paradigm needs to change. They're talking about a SADC tripartite agreement, SADC, COMESA, EAC, coming up with one economic bloc. 532 million people, great, fantastic, we want it. But yes, let's increase that pace, and if we can trade between us, I think it's far better and nicer. The problems are at the moment is infrastructure costs are so high. It costs you, like from Mombasa to Kigali, it'll cost you like $4,000 a 20-footer. And, you can send a 40-footer from Mombasa to Beijing at that price. So there are lots of infrastructure issues within East Africa. The railway is a 100-year-old railway line. The cost of transporting goods is 5.5 cents a kilometer per ton. And the rest of the world is 2.5 cents a kilometer per ton. Our energy costs are hovering around 14, 15, 20 cents a kilowatt hour. and the rest of the world, Egypt is only 4 cents, Ethiopia is 4 cents, South Africa is 6 cents, India is 10 cents. So those are issues that I think we need to address. And yes, we can increase that 11% intra-East Africa trade to 60%. We've seen it in Europe. Why can't it happen here?
Absolutely. Thank you so very much, sir, for joining us, Jas Bedi, the chairman of the Kenyan Association of Manufacturers.